This week on Ebert and Roper, Gene Hackman sends in the Marines to rescue Owen Wilson behind enemy lines.
Also, Hilary Swank schemes to rejoin French nobility in the affair of the necklace.
And Robert Redford delays retirement to save fellow agent Brad Pitt in Spy Game.
Navy pilot Owen Wilson dodges riflemen and landmines in Behind Enemy Lines, one of 6 movies this week. I'm Richard Roper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. Behind Enemy Lines recycles 2 of the most beloved cliches of bad war movies. Cliche number 1, the immature hot dog show-off turns into a hero when the chips are down. Cliche number 2, the enemy can fire thousands of rounds of machine gun fire, rifle fire, tank fire, and even missiles at the guy and never hit him. But when he fires back, well, he never misses. Owen Wilson stars as a Navy pilot shot down in Bosnia and tracked by vengeful Serbs.
Eliminate the problem.
Gene Hackman co-stars as an admiral who wants to rescue his downed pilot, but is vetoed by his scheming superior, a French NATO commander, played by Joaquim de Almeida.
Do you have any idea how much damage this incident may cause to the peace process?
All I know, Admiral, is that the American people want their pilot back.
Exactly. Americans, all you care about is your own damn pilots.
The French guy calls off a rescue at the last moment, and our guy can't understand why. Hackman has to repeat the official line.
You are a combat naval aviator. Start acting like one. You've been shot down. Life is tough. I'm very sorry. But you pull yourself together. You do whatever it takes.
What's amazing is that the Owen Wilson character even made it that far. Here's a guy who's trying to evade a manhunt, and he walks through open fields, poses as a conspicuous silhouette on the tops of hills, and even takes off a ski mask at one crucial moment just so we in the audience can see that it's really him. The movie has an irritating habit of backing him into a tight corner and then switching locations on us without explaining how he got from that hillside to that mountaintop. And the bad guy who tracks him seems incompetent at everything except looking like a bad guy. Behind Enemy Lines is spectacularly unconvincing.
It's a video game, but it's a bad video game. I mean, most video games have more complex plots. There's another cliche, of course, the old switcheroo on the uniform.
Oh, yeah,
of course,
yeah,
the uniform, it's like a bad Three Stooges skit. It always fits perfectly. You know, you take the guy behind the curtain, you pop, 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 then you put on his uniform and you get right past everybody. This is such a terrible movie with such a good cast. And the way it's directed, it's as if it's a 64 crayon box and they have to use every crayon, every trick in the book. The camera's zooming and there's things going on and the techno-pop score is going and it's like a big headache.
I'm thinking this is like the children's version of this material. We got a movie coming out in about a month called No Man's Land, which also takes place in Bosnia, that really deals with who the people are there and what they're fighting for and what they're fighting against and what the situation is. And this movie is really kind of even snaky about who's side is whose. At one point, the Frenchman says, can you tell a Bosnian from a Serb from a Muslim? And the point is, the movie sure can't, because it doesn't really even want to...
Well, it doesn't matter.
Just a bunch of foreigners over there.
We know the bad guys are the swarthy guys with the guns who do horrible, terrible things, and the good guys are the blonde, all-American guys who, as you say, can dodge bullets at
You got it.
What a piece of junk. Okay, our next movie is The Independent, a deliberately schlocky and often hilarious fake documentary about the cheesiest filmmaker this side of Ed Wood. His name is Morty Feynman, and he's the amazingly untalented auteur of cheapy howlers such as Saturday Night Fever Blister, The President Wore a Bikini, and my favorite, Pong, the movie. Jerry Stiller wears an astonishing array of sweatsuits and chews up the screen as the beleaguered Morty, who has made 427 films and yet finds himself on the verge of bankruptcy.
The bank wants to repossess my films.
Yeah, they always do, and I always tell you, if you don't have money, don't make a film. You never listen to me.
Wait a minute, hold it, I need to make
Stop yelling.
And that's Janine Garofalo, who's funny and sweet as Morty's long-suffering but loyal daughter. In an interview with the documentary filmmakers, Morty denies that his films are sexist.
6 films that show that throughout time, the plight of women has remained exactly the same.
Another one dead. When will men ever learn? Another one dead. When will men ever learn?
We also see some clips from his one big budget movie, the legendary debacle titled The Whole Story of America.
I said I wanted a stampede of buffalo. This does not look like a stampede, Ivan. Oh, run. Look, here come the 2 buffalo.
These are the only 2 buffalo within 100 miles of here, Morty.
I don't want to hear from 100 miles, Ivan. If you have to airlift them in, I want those f***ing buffalo.
Jerry Stiller is having a great run in the 4th quarter of his career, playing sitcom dads and making cameos in his son Ben's films, and Ben returns the favor here along with some other big-name directors. The Independent also reteams him with his wife and comedic partner, Ann Mira. She plays Morty's ex-wife, who's living in the Rolls Royce she gained in the divorce. Their scenes are sharp, but also kind of touching. This is a goofy, stupid, hit-and-miss type of comedy that scores a lot more hits than misses, and it's got a much higher laugh ratio than some of those sorry comedies we've been put through this year.
You know, I liked it, too. I liked it, for example, when he says he invented the idea of using Roman numerals for sequels.
Yeah, that was his.
And his greatest title is World War III 2.
Yeah.
That's a great title. You know, this movie reminded me of my old friend Russ Meyer, who was an exploitation filmmaker. And what people don't realize is that at that level of filmmaking, there's a lot of personal loyalty that goes on. And it's like a military expedition. And sisters and brothers and sons and fathers and neighbors and army buddies are all enlisted in the cause. And it's like, even though they're making schlock, it's done with all of this seriousness and earnestness.
Oh, yeah.
And with love. I think you're right to say this movie has a little tenderness in it.
Absolutely, and with all great comedy, they're not in on the joke, the characters we're seeing here. And there's a great scene about his son, Morty Feynman's son, where they had a contest to name the baby. And I don't want to give away the punchline, but it was one of the biggest laughs I got in a movie all year.
What I want to find out, at the end of the movie, in the credits, they list all of his 427 titles. And I'd like to get a printout of that somewhere.
They've got a website
is
that
it on the
lists
web?
all of them.
Good, okay.
You mean movies like Tora, Tora, Toga?
Yeah, that was
things like that.
That was a very good one. Okay, coming up later in the show, Robert Redford defends junior agent Brad Pitt in Spy Game.
Where'd you learn to shoot? Boy Scout, sir. You kidding me? No, sir.
Coming up next, Oscar winner Hilary Swank incites a royal scandal in the affair of the necklace.
I'm drawn to a face that's new. You seek an alliance with the Cardinal, yes?
Oscar winner Hilary Swank plays a French woman who dreams of restoring her family name and rising in society in the affair of the necklace. And in that scene, she's with 2 backstage fixers, the leader of the occult Illuminati, played by Christopher Walken, and a cardinal, played by Jonathan Pryce. Her scheme is to convince the cardinal that Marie Antoinette wants a fabulous diamond necklace and that he can win the Queen's favor by secretly loaning the Queen the money. But the cardinal is a dangerous man to trifle with.
Never test my good nature, Countess.
When her con game succeeds, the young woman sells the diamonds and buys back her long-lost family estate. But she alienates her lover, played by Simon Baker.
The name is spoken with respect again, and I will not diminish that by running away.
Fiery hell with the name. It will do you little good in the king's
Then go,
prison.
Rateau. I haven't asked you to stay.
The affair of the necklace is based on the real story of the notorious Jeanne de la Motte Valois, who lied her way into wealth and big trouble. And I can see why it looked like a promising idea for filming, but this movie never really takes off. It clunks along in wordy dialogue passages that nevertheless leave the plot looking pretty murky, and the performances by Jonathan Pryce as the Cardinal and Jolie Richardson as Marie Antoinette are so sharp-edged I never quite believed that the young woman could really outsmart them. Instead of coming alive as a story, this seems like a stagey costume picture from start to finish.
I thought it came alive completely.
Whoa.
It was vibrant, and she doesn't really fool him on every level, so that's okay. And you mentioned Jolie Richardson. She was my favorite thing in this movie. She's got the Marie Antoinette thing.
Oh, yeah, she does a great job, but she has a small part.
Well, I would have liked to see more of her, but there's nothing wrong with seeing a character and saying, I want to see more of her. Jonathan Pryce is great. Christopher Walken. I mean, when you see Christopher Walken, I will say to you, it's getting close to campy,
Yeah, but what
I'm
you're talking about
enjoying
is
the
you're
story.
finding little supporting characters who come in.
No. Hilary Swank is good here too.
Hilary Swank is not too convincing in this movie, in my opinion.
Oh,
and
I think she's. I think
furthermore,
she's quite
they
good.
spend all their time standing around and talking and talking.
Oh,
and talking.
there's
and
a lot of
They don't
lot
really
of
get a
humor
dramatic
here.
engine going here.
There's a lot of intrigue
where you're really
here.
involved.
I thought it hummed along. I really enjoyed this, and I'm sure that it's sort of a fractured fairy tale version of the real events that happened. But the fact that it was inspired by real life events made me enjoy it all the more.
Well, I think it was inspired by real life events that bear no resemblance to this movie. So what's
Well, the movie
point?
itself, I think, works
Okay.
fine. Thank you. Okay, coming up next, we've got Robert Redford teaching Brad Pitt the rules of the spy game.
And looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review George Clooney and Brad Pitt again, leading an all-star cast in the caper film Ocean's 11.
You're a thief and a liar.
I only lied about being a thief. Every building, every room, every situation, a snapshot. I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm also checking the room, memorizing the people, what they're wearing. Then I ask the question, what's wrong with this picture?
Veteran CIA operative Robert Redford shows Brad Pitt the ropes in Spy Game, a pedal-to-the-metal thriller that begins in 1991 and spins back to the 70s and 80s. Redford is well-suited to play Nathan Muir, a 60-something spy who has to put in one last day before he can come in from the cold. But on that last day, Nathan learns that his former protege, Tom Bishop, played by Pitt, is being held in a Chinese prison and will be executed in 24 hours. In a series of flashbacks set in exotically dangerous locales, we see Nathan throwing Tom into the deep end of the pool.
See that apartment building? Yeah. Know anyone who lives there? Well, within 5 minutes, I want to see you standing in one of those balconies.
Nathan is a master of the harsh and sometimes deadly rules of the international spy game, but he allows himself to give some fatherly advice to Tom.
Put away some money so you can die someplace warm. Don't ever touch it. Not for anyone, ever. Okay. Is that it? Don't ever risk your life or your career for an asset. Comes down to you or them, send flowers.
Spy Game was directed by Tony Scott, the master of supercharged action flicks starring men who sweat in slow motion while the soundtrack pins your ears back. We're talking Top Gun, Days of Thunder, Crimson Tide, things like that. All that noise and the star power of Redford and Pitt was almost enough to distract me from the weaknesses in the script, which kept calling for Redford to conveniently find top-secret papers or fool a room of CIA experts with simple phone tricks. I'll admit the main story is implausible, but the flashbacks were spectacular, and the cast is really good here. So I'm going to give a mild thumbs up to Spy Game.
I'm going to give it a mild thumbs down, and I'll tell you, I love Redford and Pitt, too, and I wish they'd been left free to do their thing a little bit more, because this movie is cut so relentlessly that nothing is ever allowed to establish itself before suddenly we're jerked away and looking at something else. I doubt if there are many shots in this movie longer than 15 or 20 seconds. And I was just...
That's the Tony Scott way of doing things. I mean, yeah, he does do the attention deficit disorder thing. It's one thing right after another.
People have known each other for 25 years. Let's get into their personalities. And you're right about the phone tricks. I mean, here is a room full of the CIA's top spies, and he's on the phone pretending to be talking to his wife, and they're fools.
Yeah, you'd think at some point during an international crisis they say, you know what, have your wife call afterward. We're going to keep you. And then, of course, people keep leaving papers on the ground, and he looks at it and he sees the name of the operation.
Oh, he's
but the
able to see
flashback
everything
scenes,
on that
Roger,
desk.
were strong enough for me.
Oh, yes.
The flashback scenes. And Pitt and Redford are so good
Well,
together. So it's worth recommending, but we're not that far apart.
It's a marginal popcorn movie that I can't quite recommend, but if you find yourself stuck with somebody who listened to your review, you won't be that unhappy. How's that?
Stuck with that. Thank you very much.
Our next movie is Catherine Breillat's controversial French film Fat Girl, which has been banned in Ontario, Canada, illustrating the curious principle that censors frequently target the best work. Isn't that strange? They don't usually ban the bad movies. The movie tells the story of two sisters, one 15, the other a couple of years younger. The older girl knows she's pretty. The younger girl fears that she's not, but is very competitive because her sister seems way ahead of her in the teenage romance sweepstakes. It's summer, and they're at a resort with their parents.
Marc, tu me traînes comme un boulet. Mais non, t'es pas un boulet. Tu sais très bien que si tu n'es pas avec moi, je ne me laisserai jamais sortir. Ça les rassure que je te traîne. Tu vois, tu dis que tu me traînes.
The younger girl is played by Anaïs Rabu. The older one, played by Roxanne Mesquita, meets a smooth-talking older boy, and that makes her kid sister very jealous. She fantasizes about boys, acting out her dreams in a swimming pool.
Parce que maintenant que je sais que je plais, je veux connaître d'autres expériences. N'est-ce pas que j'embrasse bien?
There are 4 passages that are relatively graphic, and I think those are the ones the censors objected to, including a shocking conclusion, deliberately shocking, that comes as a complete surprise, just as such things do in real life. And from that ending, Fat Girl draws a conclusion so wounded and so defiant that we have to think a long time after the film is over to decide what it means and what we actually think about it. And that is the mark of a good film. Fat Girl is powerful, intelligent, tough, and uncompromising.
You're absolutely right. It's very tough. And when I saw this movie, I was kind of mad at the way things had this arbitrary development. But you're right. That's what happens in real life. Things happen at random like that. And I thought a lot about this movie after I saw it, days afterwards, week afterwards. And, you know, this has actually been a good year for movies that tackle the subject of sex in interesting and mature ways. Movies like Center of the World and Intimacy, and definitely this film, and not the usual just frat boy hijinks and peekaboo nudity. This is stuff that tackles it honestly and in a stark fashion.
Yeah, you know, the one thing I don't understand about censors is whenever a movie really gets it right in terms of the way life is, you know, so that young people might be able to learn something, maybe an object lesson, then the censors don't like that, but they approve all kinds of smarmy, kind of smutty, silly, goofy...
Or heads getting blown off and people getting wounded and amputated. That's fine.
And I don't understand the values that are involved there.
Well, it's been a long history of that. Violence and silly sex is okay, and serious stuff that actually shows something frightens people. Okay, coming up next in the video spotlight, it's the bootleg version of one of my favorite films of last year.
Ebert & Roper's Video Spotlight is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. Try Raisinets in new, convenient, resealable bags.
It's the little things, the silly things, the mistakes. There's only one of them, and it makes the song. It's what you leave out. Yeah, that's rock and roll.
Almost Famous is Cameron Crowe's love song to the music of the early 70s. It was the most entertaining American movie of the year 2000, and it's in my Video Spotlight this week. But like the fictional band Stillwater, this movie never reached a huge audience, despite a cult following and almost universal critical acclaim. Now Crowe has issued the definitive version of Almost Famous, a double-disc DVD called Untitled. There's even a CD of Stillwater songs in the package. And you get 35 minutes of deleted scenes. Here, a stoned-out DJ sort of interviews the band.
Look at the dogs wearing the funny hats, juggling just for you. Freaks and family.
Kate Hudson was nominated for an Oscar for her portrayal of Penny Lane, a legendary fan who says she's not a groupie, she's a Band-Aid.
I'm going traveling to India, and then I'm going to learn to play the violin, and then I'm going to college for 1 year.
There's nothing they could teach you in college, darling.
When I saw Almost Famous in a theater, I said I couldn't wait for it to end so I could watch it all over again. And that's the same feeling I had as I watched this special edition in my Video Spotlight this week.
And it was my favorite film of last year. When we come back, a look at a new breed of Superbit DVDs.
Join Roger and Richard for the second annual Ebert & Roper Film Festival at Sea. Set sail to the Bahamas, February 28th through March 3rd, 2002, aboard the Disney Wonder, with a stop at Disney's own private island paradise, Castaway Cay. Call your travel agent or 1-800-945-3806.
The movie Answer Man has been hearing from home video fans who wonder about the new breed of DVDs marketed as Superbit DVDs. So I got some and I looked at them, and here's my report. Most DVDs find room not only for the movie itself, but also for extra bells and whistles. The Superbit DVDs devote every single bit of storage space to only the movie itself, claiming to offer twice as many bits of information. It's not twice as good, though, but it's better. Here's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in Superbit and regular DVD side by side. It's hard to see on TV, but at home, I could see the difference. So I like the Superbit picture, but I miss those bells and whistles. So how about a 2-disc set that would have the movie and the extras?
Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs down for Behind Enemy Lines, but 2 thumbs up for The Independent. We split on The Affair of the Necklace. We split again on Spy Game, but 2 thumbs up for Fat Girl. Also in theaters now is Black Knight, starring Martin Lawrence as a theme park worker who falls into a scummy moat and surfaces in the Middle Ages, perhaps in search of people who would find his humor fresh and original. No such luck.
This is a hell of a setup you got here.
I mean, I'm not lying. I mean, whoo, you got to have major coins behind this. Who's backing you? Buffy?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend buying a ticket for it or renting it or getting cable to see it, but maybe when it turns up on free TV if you're a Martin Lawrence fan. Remember, you can check out our website at ebertandroper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Julia Stiles challenging Stockard Channing in The Business of Strangers. And until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, in both Behind Enemy Lines and Spy Game, they have that relentless techno-pop soundtrack. It's just as if they're afraid of the story itself.
You know, it's as if the movie is supposed to be some kind of visceral experience that is not supposed to engage the brain at all.
It's like they don't
think
trust
about the
script.
people, just feel the sound.
The Conair Bath Spa with powerful dual water jets. It revives you, it relieves sore muscles, it pampers you all over. Experience it.
Video games blast through batteries and your money. So arm yours with Rayovac Maximum. They have long-lasting alkaline power for less. Rayovac.
Christy lost 84 pounds in 12 weeks with clinically proven Synedrin. Synedrin is the #1 selling diet supplement in America because it works. Available at GNC.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roper is brought to you by